When he knew I had not ever considered it or even thought about it, that's when he suggested that I go visit with my doctor and go visit a medical school. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
I went and I visited with my doctor, and then I went to visit the medical school, and it happened to be the one at OSU in Tulsa, which is interesting because I later ended up being the dean there. And I went, my dad and I went to visit, and I remember walking in there thinking, oh, I should not be here. I was so intimidated. I almost, changed my mind. And as we walked in, there were medical students there, and they immediately started talking to me, asking me, are you starting school next year? Mm-hmm. I mean, they were just very friendly. And in visiting with them immediately, I realized they're not any different than I am.
Right.
I think sometimes we think other people have a certain skill set or they were meant to be there and we're not. So really just seeing them as people just like me really helped me to, kind of get comfortable.
Yeah.
And we toured the school, and after that day, I knew that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I was fascinated by everything, and knew that's where I wanted to do. I wanted to go to medical school. I was really wanting to do something where I could make a difference, and something that would be challenging and really different every day, but could make a difference. And medicine really fit that for me. And I really couldn't think of a better career. I loved it. I never thought I would get out of medicine.
Right.
It was great.
Before that moment that you toured that facility and you were kind of, I guess, going through the motions to just please your professor, I guess, going there to check it out, what else was on the cards at that moment? Was there anything else that was like, this is my path? I could have actually been something else and gone into teaching or wherever.
Well, really, because I knew softball and I knew I liked science, I was really thinking I would coach and teach science. That's really where I thought I was going, but I think that was mostly because that's what I knew, and that's what I enjoyed. And so, I mean, I hadn't put too much thought or explored other options until that time.
Yeah.
I think I did, for a while, continue to coach and volunteer my time and those kind of things. Because I enjoyed that. But what I realized when I decided to go into medicine, and I knew I was going to have to really focus on it, it was kind of my new passion, my new focus, and it kind of replaced that for me.
Yeah, that's kind of the one, I guess, good things. I guess we can call it a good thing, a blessing, is that, for me, after graduating, I could still try and play professional golf or try and play amateur golf tournaments. Sadly, the softball world is very small, isn't it?
Yes.
Right. So unless you're, very highly skilled and you're gonna, you're getting a contract to go play somewhere or speak or coach or whatever, fortunately for you, that your college career was the end of. You didn't have to worry about, being pulled in two directions. You could channel everything you had into going to med school. Which is, great blessing to have.
Yes.
As much as you missed the softball field.
Yeah. Well, and I think when you don't have the same passion and you're not going to give as much to it as you previously did, and I think that's where I was, and I could, focus on medicine.
Yeah. So you dive in, you go straight to med school, and full support of mom and dad, and off you go to was it the med school in Tulsa that you went to?
It was.
Yeah.
It was. It was medical school. I would tell people it's tough.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hours and a lot of information, but OSU is really the right place for me. The culture, I think, makes the difference.
Yeah.
It's tough, but everybody there is pretty supportive of one another, and it's really this attitude we're all going to do well together. And I think that's the place I needed to be in order to be successful. So, that was 4 years of medical school, and you learn a lot about yourself there
Right.
too. A lot of very type A people who are very smart, and you just get in there and learn from one another, learn from your professors. And then, as I graduated, I really wasn't sure what specialty I wanted to go into. So the funny thing, when one of my very first days in class, I was sitting next to a friend. Well, she would later become one of my very best friends. And she was telling me she wanted to be a pediatrician. She knew what she wanted to do. And I said, I don't really know what I want to do. I just know I don't want to be a pediatrician. I had this idea of small rooms and screaming kids all day long. And there may be some reality to that, but I never heard any of that, when I was there and practicing. But again, I did a rotation with a physician, my first pediatrics rotation, and I really liked it. And that, I think, really changed my whole view.
Yeah.
I really liked the idea of an ongoing relationship and really being able to not just focus on the health aspect, but helping families grow, helping parents.
Yeah.
I had a lot of very young single mothers in my practice who some of them didn't have much of a role model for parenting. So that aspect of it too was very rewarding to me.
Yeah.
And medicine, pediatrics has this really, I always say it's really bad if it's a bad day. But there's a lot of really good days in there too. And to be able to do that was really just an honor that people would entrust their children with you. And, I just fell in love with the practice of pediatrics and have always enjoyed it. And now it's funny because I see kids that are here on this campus that were my patients. And so,
Really?
Yes, they'll come up and say hi, and I'm happy to see that they're doing well. I did my job. They're here and they're healthy, and so it's good.